we repress all the animalistic side of ourselves. We think we're so much brain, but the thing that makes us beautiful is, like our feelings and our individual feelings, because all the computers, they're all the same specs. Do you give a fuck what difference between one MacBook Pro versus another MacBook Pro that's exactly the same spec is?
Ooh, speak your shit, Arturo.
You know?
Holy shit.
No, it is in the uniqueness.
But I was trying
What
to
did you
just
say? What did you yell?
I didn't really like say much. I just said like I
You said,
have
"Get the
it."
fuck
Like,
out
I
of here,
just
you
said-
bitch."
Okay.
Yeah.
Relax.
I'm trying.
I guess from her standpoint of view, like it is wrong that I was like thinking about driving home, like drinking a few drinks, but like I was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid.
You should have asked her, were you good enough to fuck a guy in front of me? Get the fuck out of here.
You know how like when Google's like loading the webpage
Yeah,
and then it like
yeah.
stops and you see the T-Rex running?
Well, it's usually Pornhub for me.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
I feel like I don't know what you used to look like. I don't know.
Nah,
You play to your strengths. You like do apps. Twitter, Bumble, fuck those. You go on a Hinge. Welcome to Manly Girly, Alex Ximil Part 2.
So
We're going to talk about Heartbreak, which we may have. If you watched last week's episode, we cut it out. You might have seen it there towards the end. But now Alex is here and ready to talk to us. So welcome back, Alex.
what's up? I'm here.
Welcome
Thanks
back, Andy.
for coming. Yeah, thanks for having us.
And Alex, why don't you tell us a little bit about, set the stage for us. From my understanding, this story started a long time ago. It
Yeah.
precipitated in Tennessee, right? So maybe let's start from Tennessee back and then Tennessee forward.
Okay,
Does
so
that sound like a good place to start?
yeah, I mean in Tennessee, like I was obviously like we go out partying and shit like that.
What
it's-
happened? Wait, what happened in Tennessee? Did we talk about this last time on the podcast? You went with to Tennessee with some friends, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so like we go there and we got really drunk. Not we, like I was all right, but like everybody did, and like one of my homies, they like blacked out, like, and I don't know. It's like that's a weird start to it.
To a trip.
We'll cut it. You can always cut around the start.
So like,
You mean a weird start to the trip
yeah, like it just felt weird, kind of.
because your buddy blacked out?
Yeah, like they were kind of already like drunk and shit. So like
Were you
I was
guys
kinda
all
watching
drinking like at the house or were you
Yeah.
at the bar?
it was like at the house.
Oh, okay.
So everybody was turned up and shit, and then she ended up like sleeping with some dude on the trip, and I was like,
Who's she?
this homie that I used to, I don't want to say her name. I don't want to put her on blast, obviously. Yeah, I guess essentially. So like she was like a mad good friend for me,
Mm-hmm.
and like I guess along the way, like I started catching feelings for her,
Mm-hmm.
but I know she doesn't have those feelings for me, so I set them aside.
Okay.
And I guess in a way that sounds kind of like toxic. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Like just me having to like knowing that I have these feelings, like just set them aside just because they're homie.
I see.
Because
Okay.
in reality, it's like kind of still hurting you.
I see.
So like, yeah, I
So-
guess the term isn't so much heartbreak, more so like a hard lesson.
That is fair. I love that actually because
Like I think my biggest issue with like this situation is that like I'm making it seem like it's this huge thing, but like
Mhm.
after like moving past a lot of stuff, it's like
not as big of a deal as you
yeah,
thought
it's
it
like
was?
all right, and that's the thing that I
Mhm.
wanted to talk about is like because obviously me and you we come from different eras of time,
Yeah.
so like and you as well, so like I want to get a double.
She doesn't
opinion
look
on
like it, but
it.
she's from my era of time.
Like we could like this essentially like what are different coping methods with like what we do now, like my generation, like we do a lot of different things that just don't like for most people it kind of seems like a little bit extra.
Like what?
What do you mean?
So
Yeah.
like back then, because this is an example, you could go now and request time off, like paid time off as a mental health day.
Right?
I don't think that wasn't ever a thing back
No,
in the
that
day,
has
right?
never been a thing.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like mental health and like shit like that is more aware now than it was then. So like
Sure.
It's just the differences of like coping. Because like what I'm dealing with right now is like I had a really good friendship,
Mm-hmm.
and I crossed a boundary,
Mm-hmm.
and like what do you like?
What do you mean you crossed the boundary?
I crossed the boundary of like she knew that I liked her, but like I knew she didn't like me.
Mm-hmm.
How did you know?
She's told me.
Oh, okay.
They
Yeah.
So
had
that's
a
what I'm
very
saying, that's what
frank
I'm saying.
conversation.
So me being open about it, like towards them, I just kind of figured that was like okay.
Right, but I would argue that, and we have this conversation similarly, right? That the only I think we talked about the only thing we have is our choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have a right to feel, right? You have a right to like her, right? Like,
Mhm.
and she has a right not to like you, and two things can be true at the same time, right?
Yeah. Like, cause like we right after the trip, right after everything that happened, like her getting blacked out drunk, making out with a dude like in front of me, and then like kind of
Is that not rude if she is aware that you like her, and does that like literally in front of you, knowing that it'll hurt your feelings? When from the story that you said, um, it was like you were with the dude hanging out, right? And then she came along, or how did it happen?
no. She invited me on a trip
Mm-hmm.
because I get the idea is that it was like a group of new friends, like new people that
Mm-hmm.
you haven't met before, and you get invited by somebody, and then you should invite somebody that you know, right?
Yeah.
Feel
Okay.
comfortable, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
That's the whole reason I kind of went because I was
Mhm.
like, oh,
Well, new
I guess she kind of
experience.
just needs a friend to go with
Yeah.
her
Sure.
because she doesn't know anybody. But,
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of where I was coming from. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll just come with.
Yeah.
You're a homie. You invited me out to a trip.
So
Cool.
she felt safer with you there.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that she was the one that specifically invited you with all these other people that you didn't know.
Yeah.
So you guys were kind of, I don't want to say like there together, but kind of.
Yeah. You went
sure.
to? Did you drive there? Fly there? How did you go?
Well, it was like a road trip. So like
Okay.
driving there, like it was like 6 hours.
Who
Okay.
was it? Like all the people drove together, or how
There was
it?
like separate cars. So like we're in groups. So like
Okay.
I was in the car.
Who was in
driving
your
there
car?
With them. Huh?
Who was in your car?
It was like 2 dudes and then me and her.
Oh, okay,
The
nice,
homie.
nice. So you guys both caught a ride from these dudes.
Yeah.
Nice.
But we met up at like a spot. We got to meet them. They were
Nice.
cool. They're super cool.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
actually going on a trip later in the year to Florida with them.
I hope
Hey.
one of these dudes was not the dude in the bed.
No.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you would be a bigger man than I am because I'm not going to a trip with Florida
Well, no.
unless I'm going to murder and put him in the ocean.
I mean, it doesn't like for me. It's like doesn't matter anymore. Like,
I hear you.
cause like the idea of me getting upset about it was like I shouldn't, cause we're not a thing. We're just friends.
Yeah.
So why would I be mad at a friend for doing something like that? And that's not my place.
Well,
Well, yeah, I'd separate those two things, right? I'd separate the action of you, let's say, saying something. It's like, how dare you? Because you're right. You
Yeah.
have no right to say anything like that. But you do have a right to feel upset. For example, if you have a friend for a long time, at least in my perspective, right? And you may disagree. If you have a friend for a long time, because I've been in this position, that knows you like them, right? And has mentioned it, okay. Then out of a friendly respect, that first of all, if I'm going and I know it's like, oh, I'm going as a single person, you're either on the hunt or you're not, right? Like, and I'm going with the potential, only she knows this, to hunt. And then all of a sudden, like, we're not children, right? Like, regardless of her impaired state, she is impaired enough to want to hook up with a guy, and don't tell me that she's not impaired to know that there's a person there, right? So,
Well, okay.
but wait, before
Okay.
before all that, right? Like, and this is once again not the actions, right? But how you feel, right? I think it's completely reasonable to think, well, I would hope that a friend would take my feelings into account. And if that's like what she's going for, not invite me because she knows that seeing it and the probability of me seeing it is possible, right? And it's a little bit cruel in a way, I would argue. She has a right to do it,
I was about to say like,
but therein lies, and then it's a choice, right? And then you have a choice, you know?
well, and that's what I was going to mention is, whether or not you feel like you crossed a boundary that maybe you should or shouldn't have, and whether or not that's kind of like a gray area, whatever, you have these feelings and they're legitimate, but maybe you learned some things about her that made you feel differently, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
like the thing that like, because there's a moment after we got home from the trip, we got into a little argument,
Mhm.
And I kind of just, it was over something stupid. It was about a cable that I let them borrow
Yeah.
and how I picked it up. It's funny, I never actually picked it up. I don't
Yeah.
know where that cable is.
Yeah.
Cables are expensive, man.
No, but yeah, like we got into an argument. She was asking, she was like, "Do you have the cable?" Like, I don't know if I picked it up. I was like, "Yeah, I have the cable." Like, and I was just getting annoyed
Yeah.
for no reason. I don't know why I was getting
Yeah.
annoyed. I guess I was just so flustered still from
Yeah,
that.
you have a right to
Yeah.
feel emotional and, to need a moment to just,
But like, it was the only time I ever got mad at them. It was the
Yeah.
one time
Yeah.
I only ever. But the thing is, I still don't. That's not a reason to get mad. I guess I was just flustered.
you don't need to excuse a reason to get mad if
No.
you feel mad. Now, what you do with that anger, and if that anger, for example, you hit somebody, now that's an act. Feeling and thinking is not is to limit freedom in like thinking and feeling would be limit the very thing that makes you human,
Mm-hmm.
which we repress all the animalistic side of ourselves. We think we're so much brain, but the thing that makes us beautiful is like our feelings and our individual feelings, because all the computers, they're all the same specs. Do you give a fuck what difference between one MacBook Pro versus another MacBook Pro that's exactly the same spec is?
Ooh, speak your shit, Arturo.
You know?
Holy shit.
No, it is in the uniqueness of the thing. Kind of like in that, Robin Williams, Good Will Hunting. He's like, there's nothing that I can learn from a book, like from you from a book, like unless you want to talk about you. Then I'm fascinated. Then I'm in,
I mean, I don't know. I think what I got out of this is that, like, sure, I yelled, and that was pretty much to the extent.
Yeah.
But I was trying.
What
to
did you
just
say? What did you yell at?
I didn't really like say much. I just said like I
You said,
have
"Get the
it."
fuck
Like,
out
I
of here,
just
you
said-
bitch."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Relax.
I'm trying. You're being big. It's my.
No, I like what like I just kind of yelled it really loud. Like I was like I have it, and then they go like, "Did I do something to you?" And that's when I was explaining the whole thing. To
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
And then like they respect my feelings, so they apologize for that.
Yeah.
But like also she has a point when she says this, like she's not responsible for my feelings.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not responsible for hers if you told her I have it and she keeps fucking asking you about it. It's like I fucking have it. How many times do you have to ask me?
I guess. I don't know. I
Because
like
unless you're willing to accept that her feelings are more valid than yours, which I think is bullshit. You both have a right to agree to disagree.
and I think that's my biggest problem, and I think like cuz I care so much about somebody's like more than me. Like I'll make sure everybody's okay before me.
Yeah, we talked about this. I think a couple podcasts ago. I
Yeah.
forget which episode.
I think it was Generation at War.
I think. Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
Where
it
your
I
was.
just now.
detriment then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's my biggest problem, and I guess it's like
I don't think you're alone, by the way. I think a lot of people have that problem
Mhm.
right now. Of what to choose when weighing the two. You
and
know?
we were talking about like me avoiding conflict and shit like
Mhm.
that the last time I was here. It's like
Sure,
it's
yeah.
true. Like that plays a part in it too. So I'm trying to like make sure I'm not against them.
You're a great fucking guy, by the way. You should know
Absolutely,
this. Like 100%.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we've met a lot of people through the years, and
Uh-huh.
it's easy to sift. You can fool, a lot of people for a short time, but you can't fool a lot of people for a long time.
Mhm.
And you come off as genuine, and like a sweet person that. Um, but all that love you give it to yourself as well, especially because you are, you're not an NPC in somebody else's story. You're POV,
Mm. I like that. Thank you.
Mm.
Like the thing about it is that I'm starting to realize that
Yeah.
it's better to just start letting something go. And so like I get a text message about a couple weeks ago
Mm-hmm.
because we ended up going to an open mic
Yeah.
because I'm starting to get back into comedy,
Yeah.
trying to get this thing going.
Check him
and-
out if you haven't. He's great.
So I invite them to the Haymaker night,
Yeah.
and I did pretty.
I love
good.
that room. That's a very nice, intimate
Yeah.
room
Yeah.
too.
And like me personally, I don't think I've had a night where like I didn't get more than just a chuckle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got some pretty good laughs that night. So like in my
Nice.
opinion, I won that night.
Oh yeah, that feels great
Nice.
too.
And
yeah.
so I'm like, I feel happy. I'm gonna get some drinks. Like I'm like 4 drinks down. and I go and let them know, like my homies. I let them know. I was like, hey, dude, I'm feeling good. Like, like I'm having fun. I'm glad you guys came out. They're like, have you been drinking? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, are you driving home? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And so like, I guess from her standpoint of view, like it is wrong that I was like thinking about driving home, like drinking a few drinks, but like I was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Not as solid as I am right now.
You
but
should have asked her, were you good enough to fuck a guy in front of me? Get the fuck
Whoa.
out of here. Then. Get the fuck out of my face then.
I don't think. All right, so
You know, like-
so
I mean,
think
it's
the
not his girlfriend.
no,
Yeah.
but
What she did was rude.
listen, and that's what I'm saying. It's like you have a right to be autonomous about your decisions. If somebody else has a right to be
the
autonomous.
thing
about
is,
theirs.
nobody knows what happened in that
Yeah.
room, so nobody knows for sure what happened.
Nobody knows what happened in the
I
room
just
where it
remember-
happens. You know.
I mean, like I just remember like it's so crazy. Like I don't even want to think about it, but
Yeah.
like because it's so crazy. It's like a horror movie that you've just seen that scared the
Yeah.
shit out of you. Like I was
Yeah.
talking about with Smile a couple days ago,
Yeah.
Ugh,
and like it's so weird.
that's bizarre. But
Yeah.
you know what?
So I don't know if they like fucked or not. All I know is that
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
getting into it. So I was like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah. There's sure some, like some glue gun tugging. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But like it's whatever, dude. Like I said, I'm being better about it. I've
Yeah.
moved on.
I don't think. By the way, when I say this, I don't mean that there's anything wrong with anybody. Everybody's free to make their own decisions, and everybody's free to have their own opinions. Right? This is not judgment on the person.
No.
It's
of
just
course not.
hypothetical in the situation in the sense that if somebody else has the willingness to, for example, act rudely because that's what they desired,
Yeah.
then you have a right to also follow your heart's desires and defend them with the same fervor, right? Like all of a sudden say, listen, I'm good. Or like, and once again, I'm not in the situation, so we're only getting right from this your story, but it sounds a little bit like the cable. Yeah, I have it. It's like I have it. How many times are you gonna get questioned? Like, oh, are you gonna drive? Yeah, I'm fine. Let me make my own decisions. I don't belong to you.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't answer to you. You know?
So like, oof, I got stuck.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
no,
like-
no.
You know how like when Google's like loading the web page
Yeah,
and then it like
yeah,
stops,
yeah.
so you see the T-Rex running.
Well, it's usually Pornhub for me.
Yeah.
It's like fuck. Yeah, like I'm just kidding.
No, like
You're my only Pornhub Andy. You know?
I mean, I can't say I'm not wrong for what I did, but like,
Yeah.
I guess I'm willing to accept it.
Yeah.
Move on. I can't tell if this is the end of a friendship. All I know is that it's an indefinite break.
Well, the thing of it is this is probably what will tell you if it's a forever friendship. You know what I mean? Like we talked about last time. What did you say? The friends forever and
No, people
what?
come into your life
Oh,
for a
reason,
reason, a season, or the
season.
rest of your life.
Yeah.
It's like walking the path. It's like walking a journey, like a walk through the woods, right?
Mhm. And like that's what I'm thinking. It just feels like it feels weird.
Yeah.
It's like I guess in like spiritual terms, purgatory.
hmm
Like everything's just kind of stopped.
Who's
Yeah.
usually chasing who to hang out?
Huh?
Who's usually chasing who to hang out?
Me.
You chasing her?
Well, yeah, I'd always be like, "You trying to hang out? Like you trying?" Like,
Yeah.
there's been a
exactly.
few times where like I've gotten a couple like, "You want to go get bobas from her?"
Yeah.
But like me, it's always been like you trying to plan something. Like, you
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
do
So now,
something.
it's like okay, put the car in neutral, and this is where you test if the friendship that you gave is reciprocal, right? And if a friend can understand
Mm-hmm.
somebody having a bad day, especially if she's coming, because once again, she has a right, and she can either be a friend or not, or
Yeah.
does the pattern fit somebody that just gets his ego struck by having somebody that's nice to them all the time, that's safe, and that they can say whatever the fuck they want about all the guys they fuck, they blow, or whatever, and they have that emotional support from a guy that is so nice that he's not gonna try to bang him out.
Like this is what I was thinking whenever I got the text pretty
Yeah.
much explaining everything, like why they're upset right now. And
Why are
I'm
they
like,
upset right now?
it's a little weird to talk about.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like actual personal shit.
Yeah, the high level, like, You know, if a person got mutilated, their leg mutilated in a car crash, or it's like, oh, there was a car accident. In some more general way. Is there a more general way to describe kind of what it was about?
It was like it was more so because like I have an issue when I was younger with
Yeah,
self harming,
yeah.
Mm.
and so
Oh yeah,
like
she wanted to make sure that you were safe.
yeah, she wanted to make sure that I was safe because I was like
Yeah, yeah,
I did self harm that night. Like
yeah.
it affected me so much that it like broke me.
No, 100%. Listen, like a lot of people look at self harming negatively, and it can obviously it's not something positive,
Yeah,
but
it's fucking
it's about
terrible.
deflecting emotional pain with physical pain, so you don't focus on the pain, right?
So like the what her argument is, and I'm not saying that like to diminish it.
Yeah,
I'm saying it as like pretty much she was afraid that I was gonna do something stupid
yeah.
if she did something like that again.
Okay.
And so I was like, that was like a one. I don't know what happened. Like that
Yeah.
was it. But I understand where that's coming from.
Right, right.
'Cause
That's reasonable.
That's
Yeah,
crazy. That's like you don't know if you're gonna get Bruce Banner or the Incredible Hulk.
yeah.
It's weird. Like, and I'm never like
The
that.
incredible Alex, you know.
But like it happened, and I guess she just didn't. It's like too much for her.
Yeah, that's fair.
So sure, she wants a break, but I can tell like I don't think it's gonna rekindle.
Well,
Which is weird. So that's why I refer to it as purgatory,
Yeah.
or I guess you know, and if you've ever seen Silent Hill, the movie, you know when they walk
Yeah.
in the town and it's all foggy.
mhm.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like right now.
Well, what you know, the thing is like about patterns, and I'm sorry, really sorry to hear that because it's a bummer. You know, like it'd be a
Absolutely.
bummer simplifying it, but you know, more than one pattern can fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, especially if you've mentioned that you're the only one that's always pushing the thing,
Mm-hmm.
then you've been as good of friends as you can, and you made a mistake, right? Like now it's on her court if she wants to be a friend, but from my experience, the best way for relationships, like it's kind of like making choices. You
And
can't
like,
force a path.
and what's crazy is that this isn't the first time something like this kind of situation has ever happened.
Yeah,
I just like when a couple years back I was going through something, and that's another fucking story.
yeah,
Uh, it was like with my work
yeah,
at when I used to work at the van store, which is probably one
yeah.
of my favorite jobs ever. This also ended really badly.
Hmm.
Like
Oh, no.
ended up having
Yeah.
HR involved. It was fucking weird.
Holy shit!
Yeah, like it's weird. That's another
Let
story.
me ask you a quick question. And I'll cut this out if you want. Do you ever feel free to like be honest and like because I've been in the situation, especially when I was younger, and
Uh-huh.
it took a change of perspective to realize like girls and then become friends and then be like, oh, they'll realize how good of a guy I am, as they get to know me, and then like they see me as I see them, and
Mhm.
maybe I'll have a chance. Do you ever have that feeling?
Nope.
Okay, so you're literally being their friend, so you're completely comfortable with being their friend, even if it never turns into even if the affection that you have is never reciprocated.
Mm-hmm.
Question, and then you're also willing to mostly chase them all the time, even though you're putting most of this effort into these friendships.
If I feel like it was like a good friendship, yeah.
Right, but what is a good friendship, right? Like, do because I think you deserve better. I think you're a great guy that deserves better. That I think people deserve, whether in friendships or relationships, to be with people that are as equally psyched as being with them. And anything
Absolutely.
less than that is not a good balance of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're better, and you're a great guy, like and especially as you're like I don't know if you still see a lot of people in high school, right? But as
Mm-hmm.
we're 37, right? So we had this conversation recently when I'm like, who from high school do you still regularly hang out with? Zero, right?
Mm.
So on the matter of the journey of life, they serve their purpose in their time, and some I'm sure there's a lot of people that have relationships that were in high school, right? But only if the path aligns, and it's like sometimes we are especially from that path from high school to college or working,
Mm.
we're still almost like subject to the image that we had and the people that view us as that image, but we have the freedom to be whoever we want and become whoever we choose to be. And sometimes some of that earlier surrounding can be very limiting because people just see you a particular way. and put you in a box as opposed to the person that you are or are becoming. And
Mm-hmm.
that can be a difficult thing to navigate, you know?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it is what it is now.
That's a good way to look
I
at it.
think it's getting easier every day to kind of like just
Yeah.
it happens. And I mean, I guess it in a way it just sounds like over the top.
Well,
Yeah.
and it sounds to me like you made a couple of new friends, even though you lost a friend,
Oh yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah,
Like the
Yeah.
friends you're going to Florida with.
that is true. Florida
So-
trip's about to be lit.
That's the thing. There's no solution. There's no solutions in life, or only
Mhm.
trade-offs, right? Like if you want to like continue to be around that person for whatever your reasons are, well, the trade-off is that you're probably gonna see more of that. And
Mhm.
as a pattern gets set, it'll be more explicit and more because you're cool with it, right?
Mhm.
Or at least if you're projecting that you're cool with it and not internally anguishing because that even though we think that it's not gonna like the more we hold in by holding stuff in
Mhm.
we risk their pressure being released emotionally,
Mhm.
not how we want it. For example, which is I'm sure what happened in this scenario, right? Where you got triggered and you were not able to decide how you let that emotion get out, right?
Mhm.
And so for example, my brother does something similar, like he charges it because he's like, I don't want to make waves, it's not worth it or whatever. But then like the sum is greater than like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, because it's like then like a balloon, it pops, you have no control, as opposed to if you let out the air from the mouth of the balloon, right, in a controlled
Mhm.
thing. And it's tough.
Yeah, I think. I guess the past experiences of like heartbreak
Yeah.
has prepared me for something like this, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I'm just numb to it. You know, like a couple times ago, we were talking about like, generations being numb to just seeing shit on the internet, or from
Yeah.
seeing shit on the internet.
Harrison's numb to pornography. Like he's seen a lot of it apparently. Watch our episode with you and on if you don't know one. Every time it comes up in every
He gets
podcast.
really uncomfortable. He does not like it. I think
Yeah,
it's sweet.
it's
He's,
fun.
It's
he's,
good-
so,
it's-
he's
it's
so incredibly genuine about it, and I love that.
Yeah,
about
because his
him.
feelings are valid, but it's funny. Like, 'cause
Incredibly, yeah.
sometimes you ever realize, and I realize myself, I'm like, oh, there are themes that you end up talking about a lot whenever you're on the podcast. And Harrison's, it's fucking pornography.
Man,
He's
I
the
love
best.
Harrison.
He's
Yeah,
great.
he's awesome. We can't be excited. Check out. It's probably already released the first episode of Juanon.
Fuck yeah, dude! I love that podcast. That podcast is fun to do.
Hell yeah,
Yeah, and dude. Harrison's actually a really nice guy.
absolutely.
Like, Because I came over to do a podcast with him. It was
Yeah.
like early in the morning. I hadn't eaten anything. I woke up like 15 minutes before the show started.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, get ready. And then I go out
Yeah.
there and he's like, hey, man,
Yeah.
there's a slice of pizza in the kitchen. Have a drink. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
yeah.
It's a
It's
a
like a-
podcast and breakfast.
A very welcoming home is what
Yeah.
I'd say his personality is.
Nice.
Yeah, Harrison practices the art of friendship well, much better than I would expect somebody his age to do. You know?
He seems to put quite a lot of effort into it.
Yeah, he
into
he
building relationships.
Yeah, he practices friendship like a grandma. I mean, I love it. I love you, buddy. Like
We appreciate your friendship.
It's like one of the Golden Girls.
You see his social handle on
Oh yeah, Castle.
Instagram?
Yeah. Where did that come from?
I had no idea. I thought you would know. I
What
just
is
saw
it?
it. Was like, what
He
the
changed his handle to cancel Harrison Friedman. So it's pretty funny.
Oh man, dude, that guy is funny.
Nice.
Yeah,
Man.
he's great. So what? So now you're out on the prowl. You're taking time to lick your wounds. You're doing the apps. What's dating look like in the Gen Z world nowadays?
Gen Z. Oh, like I guess in most cases, like Tinder, Bumble, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. Nah, like that's
No?
not like cool for me. I
Yeah.
feel like me as a person, because like on those apps, it's
Yeah.
very much about image.
So you're gonna try to get yourself a little chuckle fucker. Have you ever heard of that term?
No, I've never heard of that term.
It's
I had
basically.
never heard of it either.
It's the term. It's the groupie, but for comedians. We call it chuckle fucker. Because they like to laugh.
Oh,
It's like they go to comedy shows and it's
what are
like
you saying?
that kind
Yeah.
of gets the Niagara Falls going.
if you
and it's
use
like,
that again in like 15 minutes, I'm not gonna remember what you said it was.
You could get it tattooed on you,
This is,
or get it tattooed on somebody else.
just put it on like Chuckle Fuckers Welcome, like on stage,
Yeah, but
the way they know what they're getting.
to answer your question though, it's like, yeah, like people really, because there's people just swipe.
Yeah.
That's it.
True.
They determine what you look like at first glance.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's obviously like kind of difficult for someone like me. Just a tad bit difficult.
Well, I think don't be down on yourself because guess what? The true thing about it is that we all play to our strengths. That's all we can do, right? Like,
True.
and for example, right? Like I always think, and it must be difficult, especially having it for a while. Obviously, the volume's different, but the wonderful thing about the way that you're on your health journey is that it's mutable. That is literally changeable, but you can't change your height. So, for example, right? Like, like you can, like how tall are you? You're pretty
I'm
tall.
like 5'11".
Yeah, you're 5'11", right? Right now, like, like and perception's reality, right? So, like, yeah, immature, whatever, right? So maybe the ratio, right, of like height to width at the moment that, by the way, you made great progress. That generations at war, like, you can tell,
Absolutely.
right? And so you're on a upwards trajectory and you're tall and he's a handsome kid, right? Like, and you have a
Absolutely.
great heart.
Oh,
So,
Absolutely.
listen, how old are you?
I'm like 24.
Okay, first of all, everybody your age, your brain is not fully formed yet.
Oh, okay.
Until you're 25.
It's
So,
all mushy still.
so it's like, guess what? When I was there, I didn't think of it either. And it's like only in retrospect, it's like, what was I fucking acting that way? If anything,
No, I feel that way too. Like
Yeah.
about like even the younger ages, because sometimes you do be thinking about that too.
yeah, it do be
Thinking
like
back
that.
on how
yeah.
you.
How cringy you fucking were back in the day.
So somebody told me that it's a good thing that Gen Z grew up with the internet because they know what it's like to be cringy when they were in middle school. So now they're not cringy now. Is that true?
I would think so because like
Because like you learned
I'd,
it.
I'd
in
be looking
junior
at
high?
pictures back in the day and I'd be like, ugh, oh, goodness gracious.
You had to learn your
Please.
lessons
Yeah,
and
it
move
was
on.
bad.
Okay.
Now that I'm like, I didn't have the resources back then to look good. So like now that I do look good,
Hell yeah.
Well, we all have to. I feel like I don't know what you used to look like. I don't know. I'm saying
not-
we were all awkward in middle school, and if you were anything like me, I
Yeah.
was awkward kind of well into high school. So.
I'll tell you this: in middle school, I used to have one color outfits.
Yeah.
One color outfit.
Yeah. So like,
What's wrong with that?
no, it'd
I
be like
think
an
you're
outfit
Yeah.
all like purple or like
Oh,
blue, and it'd be
okay.
like,
Mhm.
like this is fire. And then I
This
look
sounds like
back
something.
now. I look back now, and I'm like, fuck, I look like Crayola markers.
Nah, man, I'm sure at the time it was fly, But yeah, back to
Yeah.
the dating thing, right? Like, and you date women, right? Like, I don't mean to be forward with that question, like,
No,
no, you date men?
no,
Okay, women.
yeah,
Yeah, just confirming. Hey, I don't want to assume, right? Like,
Absolutely.
our
no,
view-
but it's just the way you act.
and our viewers don't know. I'm trying to be inclusive, you fucks, okay? Like,
I thought it was funny. It was just like you said, "Oh, I didn't mean to throw the curveball,l," but
Because
I
I'm gonna-
physically saw you throw the
because
curveball.
I'm going to make a generalization here, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. I would argue that most, cisgender, like cis het women
Okay,
are, are less superficial about guys, right? Like, it's like sales. You can only.
can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
What does that mean, though?
Cis straight women.
Straight women?
Yeah.
Why? Why'd say all that and not straight
Because
women?
it's fucking. Who knows if Gen Z's listen? I'm a goddamn.
I'm not gonna lie, I
cis
didn't-
het patriarch.
I
here.
didn't even know what that meant. That's why I asked.
Yeah. Well, check your privilege then.
I'm sorry. I have Google.
But so
Check your Google.
so most most straight women, like actually like men will like overall, and once again we're talking about generalities, right? Your average, a straight guy will like is much more superficial from my experience about
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's really really cute, but like her eyes a little bit too far apart. I can't get over the fact everything is perfect, and they will tank bullshit for bullshit, like bullshit superficial. Oh yeah, but her room is really messy. Really bullshit shit. And women overall, and especially when it comes to physicality, oh yeah, I don't like her hair short. Like bullshit like that.
Uh-huh.
But overall, women are much in that sense much more evolved. Like women, like they're like, okay, as long as he's like, within my height, weight, hair color, whatever, if they have parameters, I don't really care the configuration of their face too much. Like, like I don't care about details like that. They see beyond that. Would you disagree?
That we see beyond because, or if we're attracted to the person, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you see a lot more of the whole person, right?
Sure.
Especially like women that like have gone beyond that, like, bitchy, I'm the most powerful being in the universe, a young pussy face, like
So maybe that's the problem. This girl is in her early 20s, I would assume. Young woman, this young lady. She's in her
she
early
cute?
20s.
She's cute.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And she's in,
Does she
Yeah.
know she's cute?
she's like your age.
Yeah.
Does she
Like,
know she's
in the
cute?
range. Huh?
Does she know she's cute?
I think so.
Yeah, well, yeah, she either knows she's cute or she doesn't, Like, does she wear like cute outfits? Like, oh, does this look cute?
Yeah.
Yeah, she knows
It's
she's
almost
cute.
as if she doesn't try. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, well, no, that's part of the
That
game
means she
plan.
tried.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's part of aloofness is a plan, a game plan. Yeah, exactly. No, and that's the thing, right? You can only sell to who you're buying. Kind of like when and this is the difference in sales, right? Like I've done, I've worked in sales, and most people there's a type of sales where you're just like hammering. Oh, I need everybody to buy my product, right? A very thirsty kind of sale. And then there is the consultative sale where it's like, let's say I have a Rodecaster Pro 2. Well, my first question is like, oh, okay, are you a podcaster or producer? You're like, oh, no, I'm a carpenter. Well, guess what? Then, unless you have a carpentry podcast, and I'll ask more questions about it. This, what solution? What's the challenge that you're trying to solve? This may not be what you need. You maybe need to go to a tool store, right? Like me trying to sell you this, even if I get it, even if you do buy it, you're not gonna be happy with it because you're not a buyer of this product, right?
Are you saying that maybe we just weren't compatible?
100%, because the other person needs to be into you for you to
Okay,
even be
yeah, that's
compatible from the get go.
I'm not trying to say that she didn't put effort into like the friendship. She
No, no,
definitely
no.
played
We're
a
talking
part.
about the romantic side entirely.
Oh, okay.
You can't be compatible with somebody romantically because there's the personality compatibility, there's the sexual compatibility, there's the some people even character compatibility, right? Like this varies by person,
Okay.
but basically you gotta sell to who's buying you, and and as you change and with that play to your strengths, right? Like you ever watch Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
It's like there's an episode where he's like, Andy, he's like, what are you? He's like, I am nice. Perfect, nice. He's like, what else? He's like, I'm in a band. He's like, okay, perfect. What else? He's like, that's it. And you have much more than two, right? So you play to your strengths. You like do apps. Twitter, Bumble, fuck those. You go on a Hinge. Hinge, or OkCupid, any app where your strengths, which is like first of all, you're a handsome kid, like you like do like a picture, right? Like I love your the shots that you got for your headshots for the comedy, right? You use those. You get a picture of you like doing a set in front of a crowd. You make sure that you see the crowd, right? That in your bio, especially in Hinge, you answer in vulnerable and really what you want and what you're looking for, and what you're about. Maybe you put a picture of you at the gym, on your health journey. That shows you, hey, this guy is a good looking kid, is an artist, he likes to express himself. He obviously is brave. He has no issue going up in front of a bunch of people, right? Like he must be likable. These people seem to be smiling. And guess what? He's looking to get healthy, right? Like, and anybody that's not a superficial or that is attracted to you, the thing, and it's not so superficial, or not even gonna call them superficial, that their parameters, right, where your weight is a deal breaker to them, then fuck them, like, and then you literally just are putting out fishing with a lure for the people that are gonna be into you for the reasons that you love about yourself, right? Like you gotta get the right bait for the right
Absolutely.
fish. Sell who's gonna buy you. Don't waste your time, because with a limited it's resource allocation, with a limited amount of time, fuck these other bitches. You ain't got time for them, because it's like, why would you sell to people, to a carpenter, where it's like, you know what, you want to sell to a podcast producer, right? And you want to sit down and say, oh, I see the potential in the show. Oh, this will be a long relationship, like, and you grow together,
I see what you mean.
because numbness can sometimes sour you about things,
Yeah.
and kind of like a crowd, right? Think about it like bombing. Sometimes you do a set and it bombs, and you do the same set with a different crowd, and it murders.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a joke, but it's most likely the crowd, especially if you're confident in the joke, and be confident that you're a great guy. So maybe you just need a different crowd.
You know what? Yeah, I think you're right.
Well, I mean, I may be wrong, so think that too, but just
Deja
think.
vu. I think we've had this moment before.
What's that?
I was like, deja vu. I think we've had this moment before.
Listen, I completely, I'm completely aware and cognizant of the fact that I could be compromised and be completely entirely wrong, but I can only be me. So these are my thoughts.
No, but I understand, and
Yeah.
I do appreciate the. That was word of wisdom right there.
Well, this is Manly Girly. We only have people that we like, that we find value in, which is why we're not releasing a podcast with one we didn't find value in, and because we're not allowed.
Allowed is such a strong word.
Yeah, I mean, it's not worth the trouble,
Mm-hmm.
but it is worth the trouble to record the scenes and then put it on Patreon. That is,
Yeah,
middle class
But that'll
monetized,
just
baby.
be fun.
I think this episode needs a mental health disclaimer in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's under a comedy studio channel.
That's true. That's true.
Because it's it's kind of like the history of hyenas, half history, half hyena.
Mm-hmm.
We're like half deep, half ridiculous.
No, that's true. That's true.
Half conscious, half ridiculous. Consciousness is ridiculous.
We're here for a good time, my guy.
Exactly. We're here for a short, good time, and we might as well live and enjoy life.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is awesome.
Hell yeah. Well, that feels like a good stopping point. We've gone we'll add this in to this will be the second part of the episode that'll be at the top of the hour. You have a killer show. We're gonna see. Did you get your schedule for next Saturday?
I won't be there. I got work.
I
I gotta
bad,
make
man.
up for the days I'm missing today.
I hear you. No worries, man. Well, kill it at the show, and we'll do some other content another day. Remember?
Yeah, man. I feel like this is gonna be like a cool, reoccurring thing. So.
Hell yeah!
Absolutely. We're excited.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. This has been Manly Girly with Indian Art. Thank you, Alex.
Arigato.
Thank you.